Apple's iPhone 13 range is out now, and the iPhone 13 Pro Max is the big and shiny flagship phone, leading the charge with an iOS 15 operating system. If it's to win over the public ahead of the lucrative end-of-the-year period, however, it's going to have to wrestle with the early crowned king of 2021 smartphone scene, the Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra, and the new One UI 4 operating system. We reviewed both phones and awarded both smartphone titans an impressive 4.5 stars. Who comes out of this heavyweight clash on top? Stay tuned to find out. Design and screen. If you're in the market for a flagship phone, the place to start would be the Galaxy S21 series. Samsung hasn't altered the formula too much from last year, instead offering a refined flagship with the latest hardware, sublime 120Hz AMOLED screen, and amazing cameras. The S21 Ultra kicks things up a gear with its camera and large 6.8-inch QHD Plus panel, delivering the features you're looking for in a flagship. Both phones look great, but the S21 Ultra has an edge in terms of design. This year, the iPhone 13 Pro Max has a lot going for it. While the design hasn't changed too much from last year, there are a lot of under-the-hood changes. For starters, the new A15 Bionic is ridiculously good. There's a larger battery that lasts 2 days, and the screen now goes up to 120 Hz. Let's start with the design. The S21 Ultra has an attractive chassis with smooth curves and a new metal camera housing toward the back that's quite striking. The iPhone 13 Pro Max has flat sides and a similar camera housing as last year. The matte finish on the back allows the color underneath to diffuse. That said, we think the S21 Ultra has a slender edge in terms of styling. That camera housing looks more distinctive, and there's no ugly notch at the front. The S21 Ultra and iPhone 13 Pro Max are two of the largest phones around. The S21 is taller and narrower, while the iPhone is shorter and significantly wider. Yet it's thinner at 7.7mm, with the S21 Ultra measuring 8.9mm. The stainless steel frame of the iPhone 13 Pro Max makes it heavier at 240 grams. And even though the S21 Ultra has a larger 500 mAh battery, it weighs 228 grams. Coming over to the front, the distinctive feature on the iPhone 13 Pro Max is the notch. Even though it's marginally shorter than last year, it still looks unsightly, particularly against the S21 Ultra and its tiny cutout. Sure, Face ID is the most secure facial authentication system around, and it needs a lot of sensors to work reliably, but the downside is a large cutout at the front of the phone. The iPhone 13 Pro Max also has a 120Hz screen for the first time, but it's limited right now. As for the screen, the S21 Ultra has a 6.8-inch QHD Plus AMOLED panel with a 120Hz refresh rate, with the iPhone 13 Pro Max offering a 6.7-inch OLED screen that also goes to 120 Hz, a first for the series. The ProMotion tech makes a genuine difference, making interaction much more fluid. However, the 120 Hz mode is limited right now on the iPhone, with most third-party games and services not able to take advantage of the high refresh. Another annoying omission is that the iOS still doesn't have an always-on mode. You won't find any such problems on the S21 Ultra. The screen goes up to 120 Hz, so it can handle anything from browsing in Chrome to scrolling through Twitter, Instagram, and playing selected games with unlocked frame rates. Both devices also have excellent stereo sound and the latest glass protection. Hardware. Switching over to the internal hardware, both devices offer the latest and greatest. In the case of the S21 Ultra, that means the Snapdragon 888 chipset in North America and the Exynos 2100 in other global markets. The iPhone 13 Pro Max also gets new hardware in the form of an A15 Bionic, and it has a lot to offer. The iPhone 13 Pro Max has a distinct lead on the hardware front. A15 Bionic is a monster. Obviously, the Snapdragon 888 isn't short on power. In fact, it blazes through anything you throw at it. Still, an A15 Bionic has a distinct advantage, delivering better scores across the board. Both platforms are built on a 5nm node, but the A15 has an edge because of its custom core design and the ability to transfer that power a little more efficiently. The S21 Ultra gets 12GB of RAM by default, while the iPhone 13 Pro Max has just 6GB of RAM. That's more than adequate for multitasking in any other use case on iOS. Similarly, both iPhones come with 128GB of storage as standard, and you won't find 3.5mm jacks or micro SD slots here. That's all in the past. You'll also find Sub-6 and mmWave 5G connectivity as standard on both devices in the US, with global variants featuring Sub-6. The S21 Ultra gets Wi-Fi 6E and Bluetooth 5.2, with the iPhone offering Wi-Fi 6 and Bluetooth 5.0. And as you would imagine in a 2021 flagship, both phones have IP68 water-resistant as standard. Want the best battery life? You'll have to switch to the iPhone. Of course, when it comes to the battery, the iPhone 13 Pro Max has a clear lead this year. That's down to the larger 4,352 mAh battery and all the optimizations with the A15 Bionic and iOS 15. The iPhone 13 Pro Max manages to deliver 8 hours of screen on time consistently, and that's easily 2 hours more than the S21 Ultra can handle. When it comes down to charging, both devices are on a similar footing. The S21 Ultra goes up to 25-watt wired and 15-watt wireless over the QI protocol, while the iPhone 13 Pro Max charges at 27 watts using the PD standard and 15-watt via MagSafe. But the biggest issue with the iPhone is that it continues to use the Lightning connector, with most devices switching over to USB-C as standard. It's annoying that iPhone still charges over Lightning. One UI 4 versus iPhone 13 Pro Max. Samsung made a lot of positive strides in terms of software over the last 2 years, and One UI 4 brings a lot of exciting features and integrates all these new additions from Android 12. At the end of July, Samsung shared that the One UI 4 beta will kick off in coming weeks, and on September 14, it announced the One UI 4 public beta for the Galaxy S21 series. Like previous years, the beta is limited to the Galaxy S flagship, so if you're using the Galaxy S21, S21 Plus, or S21 Ultra, you can take part in the beta and switch to One UI 4 right now. Samsung rolled out the second Android 12 beta on October the 5th, bringing Google's Material Use, color extractor feature, and bug fixes. Indeed, Samsung made a lot of positive moves here, but iPhone still gets more updates. When it comes to picking between Android and iOS, there are a few things to consider. Both platforms offer a similar set of features around privacy and security, and while file system access is still annoying on the iOS, it isn't as closed off as it used to be. However, there are several key differences in notification management. Android is still far and above in the lead here, but with new features like Focus, iOS isn't too far behind. There isn't a marquee feature on the iOS that isn't missing on Android and vice versa. We prefer the way Android handles notifications and the inherent customizability on offer. Still, iOS has a lot going for it. The private relay and hide my email features safeguard your privacy, and it has a clear lead in terms of long-term software updates. Samsung now guarantees 3 years of Android platform updates for its flagships, and the S21 Ultra will make the switch to Android 14 once that rolls out in about 2 years. The phone will also get 4 years of security updates, and while that's great to see, it's outdone by the iPhone 13 Pro Max, which will receive 5 platform updates and security updates for longer. It's all about the ecosystem. When talking about flagships, particularly for these two brands, there's very little that's at fault. The S21 Ultra and iPhone 13 Pro Max offer refined designs with the latest hardware, stunning 120Hz screens, and incredible cameras. Choosing between the two phones comes down to whether you want to switch to iOS. And on that note, both phones take great photos in any lighting scenario. I'll have more to share on this shortly, but there isn't much to differentiate between the two devices in terms of photos. Obviously, the iPhone 13 Pro Max has the edge in video recording, with cinematic mode adding a new dimension to its already strong arsenal. With the S21 Ultra, you're getting a beautiful design, standout hardware with a global 5G, 120Hz AMOLED screen, and all-day battery life. The iPhone 13 Pro Max does all of that while delivering faster hardware, better battery life, ideal cameras for recording video, and long-term updates. Choosing between the two is down to more than the hardware. It's about the software and the broader ecosystem. Android is as diverse as it is extensible, and that's not an issue with the iPhone 13 Pro Max. While the software isn't as customizable as Android and notification management isn't as seamless, it ties into the Apple ecosystem of devices. So if you just want an Android phone that's better than just about any other in the market today, the S21 Ultra is a great choice. But if you're willing to switch to an iOS, the iPhone 13 Pro Max has a lot to offer. So, what did you think? What are your thoughts on the two phones? Do you think Samsung's One UI 4 is better than the iPhone 13 Pro Max? Let us know in the comments. I'm Mickey V, and until next time, goodbye.